Hi everyone, my name is Gregory Lee. I teach violin at the OU School of Music and I'm Concertmaster of the Oklahoma City Philharmonic. I'm here to give you some tips on these excerpts for the final round of the All-State auditions on December 3rd. The Oklahoma All-State Orchestra actually played the Gershwin American in Paris not too long ago in 2016. It is a tone poem which describes the atmosphere in Paris when Gershwin visited the city. In excerpt number 2, the 3-note repeated figure on the G string is played with car horns in the percussion, so it should be quite percussive. Just imagine you're an angry taxi driver in Paris honking your horn. The second half of this excerpt picks up tempo at the vivo, and I would suggest doing a fingering that is consistent with the sequence. So going up the chromatic scale, I play 1, 2, 3, then shift 1, 2, 3, etc. Then coming down, I do the same fingering 3 times, which goes with the sequence, as you can see. In the fourth bar of number 8, I keep the same articulation as the previous 3 measures, as I believe this is a misprint. Where it says brillante on the last line, I would assume the dynamic is forte. Therefore, I suggest playing the 16th notes with dots on the string instead of off the string. In excerpt number 3, scherzando is written and that means jokingly or playfully. Given this character indication, I suggest playing all the 16th notes with dots off the string, so it's playful. You can do the printed bowings with the 2 slows and then 2 up bows, and hooking the 2 up bows, but when I recorded this, I decided to separate all the hooked bowings and just play them separately. For me, this is a bit easier to keep a consistent spiccato sound. However, the articulation should not sound and doesn't sound any different than if I were to do the printed bowing. In excerpt number 4, the character indication is grandioso. Therefore, I decided to use the full bow in the first 2 bars to give it a very expansive quality. There is a sequence that repeats 4 times, therefore to be consistent, I use the same fingering pattern 4 times. While it looks very chromatic and difficult to read on the page, it's actually quite easy once you get it in your ear. So I suggest singing it, which helps you learn it by ear. Given the fortissimo dynamic, I'd play all the 16th notes with dots on the string. The very first note of the excerpt is a high C, and my strategy to find this high note is to hear the pitch in my head first. Then I play the octave below the C on the A string with my first finger. This helps me find the actual note. I then firmly tap the string with my third finger, my sliding finger, and then I can hear that pitch. Just don't overdo the tapping in an audition. In excerpt number 5, I start playing the 16ths a little off the string, then evolve the stroke to on the string as the crescendo begins. Make sure you do the subito piano in number 74. This is when we have the opening theme of the piece played by the brass instead of strings. The last two bars is basically an F major scale in octaves, starting on C. Obviously, practicing octave double stops will help your intonation here. My suggestion is to practice octaves in the left hand, but just sound the bottom note. Notice where the half steps and whole steps are and release the finger pressure between each note. I wouldn't obsess over the string crossings. If you keep your arm level between the A and E string very close, just use your wrist to make very minimal string crossings. I almost treat it like double stops with my right hand. Excerpt number 6 is the opening of the Bernstein Candide Overture. It's easy for this to sound scrambling and rushing. Just keep a very steady pulse, especially in measure 2 and 3. Excerpt number 7 is your chance to show your lyricism and beautiful sound. Make sure you vibrate and phrase the melody. The biggest challenge with excerpt number 8 is perhaps the intonation, especially in the high register. Practice very slowly for intonation. The physical distances are very close, especially in the half steps because it's so high. My general advice would be to pick a tempo that sounds best for you. The indicated metronome markings on the excerpts probably come from the composer or the score, but several of the recordings I heard go slower. So when trying to decide what tempo to perform, listen to different recordings and see what tempo they go and what works for you. Even a YouTube recording of Bernstein himself conducting goes much slower than what is indicated on the music. If you have any questions, feel free to email me at greglee@ou.edu. And OU is hosting a free all-state clinic on November 12th, so click the link in the description to register for it. I'll be there along with other faculty at OU since it's for all instruments. Hope to see you there.